How you doing? Duff here. Last week when James visited me to test out the Z10 unexpectedly, driving 4 hours from a little bit north of Orlando because he really wanted to try out the Z10, he told me about some of his other modifications that he's done to his devices, and he also has a MiniPro like we do. We have two of them. And on his MiniPro he has these huge tires. And it just happened that he had an extra set of them. He was originally thinking about putting them on his M10 III, but then he was pretty sure it will wind up rubbing, not fitting inside the case. So he was wondering if I might want to do a similar modification to my MiniPro, to Cindy's MiniPro. And I said, sure, why not? So right here you see a regular tire, and this is the replacement that I got from James, two of them. And basically what happens is you're putting a larger diameter tire on there, so you get more speed out of the MiniPro. He said probably like 1.5 to 2 miles an hour more top end, even though the app won't read it correctly. And you get better off-road handling, as you can imagine, with a larger tire. So, and he actually had, like I said, he had a larger set on his, and I rode it around and it felt good. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll buy them from you. And I did. So he described to me, Cindy's in, Cindy just came in. So he described to me the process of how to do this. I didn't look it up online, I'm kind of just going off of his verbal instructions. So first thing I did is I popped off the hubcap covers on the MiniPro using a flat edge screwdriver. Then I removed the 4 screws that hold the hubcap on. And he said I need to take the wheel off temporarily so you can get the fender off. Because the fender either has to be modified, removed altogether, or there's actually a company that sells replacement fenders to accommodate larger tires. So I need to get that off first. I'm thinking I need to take off the, there's on the bottom of the wheel there's these 4 large screws that hold it on. But basically what you need to do is you have to get clearance to get these little screws out to hold the fender on. Okay, I did just verify that you don't take off those little screws on the outside of the wheel. They call this the axle clamp. You got to remove these 4 large Allen head screws. So let's do that. Now on James' wheel, he took the fenders off and then he did a modification to them and put them back on. But I noticed when I was riding it, I still got a little bit of rub. So I think for now I'm going to just leave the fenders off, and I might just buy the larger size fenders. I think it was like 18 bucks each. Not terribly cheap, but not horrible. And I also have the option possibly of maybe finding a 3D printed design to do the same thing. Maybe. I can see my wheel is loose already. Okay, clamps out. The wheel now can move. And now Cindy's on the Alexa. Okay, now Cindy's off the Alexa. That's the sound that the Amazon Alexa makes when someone drops in on you. And it sounded like she just dropped in. Okay, so I'm now removing these 4 screws that hold on the fender. I'd recommend doing this up on a table or something. Well, if you're old like me, I'd recommend doing it up on a table or something so you're not crawling around on the ground trying to do this. Nowadays I work much better when stuff is at eye level. Much more comfortable. Okay, so those 4 screws are now off this side. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. Turn this a little bit. Alright, so now this should, there you go. Fender is now off. So I think what James described was, if you look at the back of this, he cut the plastic here and then slid these metal rods down to raise the fender. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave them off for now. That's my immediate reaction. I can decide what I want to do later. So now at this point, I'm going to put the big bracket back on here to secure this one, and then I'm just going to repeat the same steps on the other side. And the reason I'm doing this, I'm reattaching this, is James said it's easier to get the new tire, get the old tire off and the new tire on if this is reattached. So I'm heeding his advice based on his experience. Should be cool though. It'd be nice if we could get, because right now this is a Mini Pro, not a Mini Plus. This top ends at 11 miles an hour. So if we can get this up to 12.5, that'd be nice. That'd be very cool, with the added bonus of being able to handle off-road as well. Okay, 2 tips. Taking the handle off and flipping it upside down makes it easier to put this bracket back in, and you need to pay attention to the bracket itself. The shaft has a flat end and a round end, which I knew, but I don't know, I didn't really think about it much when I was putting it back in. You need that flat end to be up when you're putting the bracket back on. Okay, if it's not up, it's not going to fit right. And having one of the EUC Army stands doesn't hurt either. Okay, just pop the other side off. So that's what the axle should look like when it's laying in the channel. Okay, just for your reference. Alright, so now that I have the tires back on, I need to get the wheels back on. I need to get the old tires off. So we're going to first completely drain the air. The valve is on the inside of the tire. The one tire on this thing has had a slow leak forever, so it's actually a good idea to replace this anyways. Okay, so they are off. So now the fun part begins. You have to break the seal. Alright, so I let all the air out and then I just kind of squeeze this to break the seal. These are my automotive trim tools. I have bike tire trim somewhere that would probably work better for this. I'm going to see if I can get these off using these tools. If you've ever changed a bike tire before, you know it's not all that much fun. Just have to kind of get one edge off and then work from there. So let me get it started. Alright, so if you look up the official Ninebot technique for getting the tire off, it talks about using a crowbar to get it started. All I did is wrap it in a microfiber cloth, I guess, to protect the frame or the hub. But yeah, that's what I had to do. It's pretty tight, and stick it on the floor on end like this. All right, so there you go. Tire off. Just a comparison between the new and the old. Quite a difference, huh? Alright. So we're going to try to reverse it for the other side. Alright, so I just used my weight and just pressed the top on. Or, I'm sorry, the bottom on. But now the fun is going to be getting this back underneath here. I'm going to go get some soapy water. Soapy water applied. I see why you leave the wheel attached. Ay, ay, ay. A prying tool that was a little thinner than this would work better. This is a little too thick. I'm just kind of inching my way around and shifting these to just give me a little bit of space to keep working the edge in. Getting there. Ah, shit. It's actually pretty close. I might not need the crowbar. Oh. Oh wow. That's on. It's not centered. There we go. Now it's centered. Huh. Oh. Oh, damn it. Front's on. The back is not. God damn it. Okay. Don't turn on. What a moron. Okay. Thought I had the back lip on. Guess not. Alright. I'm gonna fight with this. And you don't want to see me fight. Alright, I got it off the back now. So now I just need to make sure that pushing it on the front doesn't push it off the back. I'm sure it'll be simple. Hey guys, I'm back. It's a couple days later, and yep, I officially gave up on putting the tires on the MiniPro. I was just busting my ass and getting nowhere. And really thanks to one of Marty's videos where he was trying to change the tire on his M10 and had similar troubles. He just could not get it. He finally said eventually screw it and took it to a bike shop, and they did it easily, and I think they charged him 15 bucks or 20 bucks, something like that. So even though I am older, I do still learn from my mistakes and other people's mistakes. So I decided to take a cue from Marty, and I took the MiniPro to a local bike shop here in Naples. And, well, actually Cindy did, I should say. Cindy dropped it off there. She knows the owner of the shop, Naples Cyclery. Give them a big plug for getting this done. And anyways, they were successful getting the tires on the MiniPro. Believe it or not, this is what it looks like. Looks pretty mean for a MiniPro, if I do say so myself. The tires are massive. And after Cindy got the MiniPro back, I said to them, I said, so what, was it easy for the bike guys? They probably took them 5 minutes and just slapped it right on. And I have to admit, I actually felt a little bit better about my failure when she said that it took two strong guys and a third at times working some tools in order to get these tires on. They struggled. And evidently they had to use a lot of lever tools, including some very, very long ones, to get this on. And these are professionals that do it all the time. So it wasn't just me. It's hard to do yourself. Okay. And they charged me, I think my bill was $32. So I guess it's more expensive. Well, actually that's in line, because they replaced one tire for Marty, and it was 15 or 20, and they did both tires in the MiniPro, so it was $32. So yeah. If I would have known up front, I could have spent $32 and avoided all that frustration and avoided all that just pain and suffering, basically, trying to get it in and just feeling like a failure. If I could just spend 32 bucks and get it done right away, yeah, that's the path I would have taken. And I kind of suggest that you might want to look into that as well. Even though James, the guy that gave me these tires, he put on his himself. And I actually, at one point, I called him up when I was in the middle of getting nowhere and got some additional direction from him, tried it out, but I could not get it on. I don't know if my tools were just not good enough, or I don't know, but I couldn't get it. So, but anyways, it's done now. I think it looks great. I'm not so worried about it right now, at least initially. I mean, sure, if you go through water, you're going to get some splash up, but we don't do that very often, especially with the MiniPro. So for now, I think we're just gonna open wheel it and see how it goes. I also put these custom hubcap covers on here. They are purple and magenta. I 3D printed these. This is actually something else I should probably put on my store. Again, it's somebody else's design, so I would probably just do it as a throw-in item that people would just pay postage. But it's cool. You can basically make them any color. And Cindy's big into purple and magenta, so that's what we did for her wheel. Looks good. And also was considering like maybe trying to come up with a 3D printed design for fender covers, but like I said, we'll just see how it goes right now. Now there is one mistake I made, and I'll point this out so you can avoid it. And I don't think it has terrible consequences, but it's less than ideal. And I'm hoping that I can address it maybe by buying a different piece of hardware. Let me show you. Okay, so when you look at the brackets that hold the actual tires and wheels on, you have 4 of these industrial looking metal screws that are used to secure it. And right there you see the one side, and if you notice on this side there's only 3. You have a hole right here, and you're like, well, Duff, why wouldn't you put in the 4th screw? And believe me, I tried.
And this was an end result. I'm hypothesizing that this is an end result of my mistake when I went to put the wheel back on after removing it, failing to be aware that one side of this axle is flattened out and one side is rounded. And when I initially tried to put this bracket on, I had the rounded side up. And I think what the end result of that was is this plate was angled somewhat as it went in instead of being flush like it should be. And I think that damaged the threads down in here. So what happens now when I turn this in, it'll go to a certain point and then it just starts to spin on itself. It doesn't continue to tighten. So, I mean, with 3 in there, it feels secure. I mean, obviously I'll keep my eye on it. But what I would like to do is try to find out what type bolt this is and maybe get one that's like a 1/4 inch longer, something like that. And then hoping that will be enough to bite into good threads in that hole, and I'll be able to tighten it down. That's my hope, and I might have to put some additional washers on it or something so it is snugged up. But that's my game plan for now. But I think it's safe to ride for now. It feels fine. I've been riding it around. It doesn't feel wonky in any way, but you definitely would rather have all 4 bolts in there, if at all possible. Don't be like me and pay attention to the way the axle is oriented. Okay, here you can see comparison between stock and the modified tire. You'll notice with the modified tire, the tire basically takes up the same amount of height as the tire and the fender with the stock configuration. So our hope is that this is going to give a little bit more speed, maybe a little bit more range as well, I guess, because you're getting more distance out of each revolution. That's to be determined. As far as the platform height goes, the platform height looks pretty similar. Surprisingly, I don't see a huge difference in the platform height between the two. But obviously you have a lot more surface area with this tire. This tire, the new tire, is a 6.5, you probably can't see that, 6.5, it's a 90/65-6.5. The tire that comes standard with the Ninebot is a 70/65 6.5. So basically it's just you're getting more, it's the same width, but you're getting more sidewall here, obviously. And that's where the benefit comes from. So yeah, I like the way it looks, and I think it's going to be cool to ride. We haven't had a time to do an extensive test yet, but that's coming. So that's it. That wraps up my how to change a MiniPro tire to a bigger, more aggressive size. And the Cliff Notes version is you'll be able to get off the old tire pretty easily, but good luck getting that new one on. Not going to be easy. If you have extra hands, strong hands in the house that could help you, it might go better. But you know, Cindy doesn't have the strongest hands, so I don't see a scenario that it would have worked out for me. Like I said, there's going to be another video where we do a side-by-side test. We'll do an acceleration test, a top speed test on modified versus stock, just to see how much of a difference there is. I think that might be interesting. And yeah, that's all I got for now. Oh, and one more thing. The tires that I put on the MiniPro came from PC Motor Motor 99 Motor. Interesting. From Canada. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. From California, Ontario, California. I thought it was Canada. And yeah, they were $21.84 each. And if I can find like a website for them, I'll include that in the description below as well, in case you're interested in trying out this modification. Oh, I'm sorry, the website is www.pccmotor.com. And also, James told me about a site that I had never heard of before. If you're interested in modifications for your MiniPro, www.madformini.com, and I'll put a link somewhere. I'll put it in the description as well. So if you're looking for MiniPro mods, that's a good place to look. Alright, so that's all I got for you for now. I'm going to clean up this mess. I have some stand parts I need to get printing because they're going to be going to France. My first France sale, so that's exciting. And like I said, look for more information on the MiniPro modification, tire modification results in a future video. That's all I got for you for now. If you found this video interesting, please give it a big thumbs up. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please consider subscribing. Leave your thoughts, comments, and suggestions below. And until next time, Duff me now. My spare Mini Pro parts bin.